If you're one of the many people worldwide who are considering dating a Filipina, then by the time you watch this entire video, you'll know if you're ready or not, so be sure to stay with me here. Now, the first thing I'll tell you straight up is to ask yourself why it is you want a relationship and possibly marriage with a Filipina, and be honest with yourself here. Is your main reason because you want a young hottie so you can impress some friends, or as payback to the much older ex? Or are you going through some sort of midlife crisis and dating a Filipina sounds like a bit of fun? What we need to remember is dating a woman from the Philippines should be taken seriously, as many Filipinas have had a tough enough life without you adding to their problems by giving them a world of hope just to help you through a particular phase in your life. For those guys looking for a bit more short-term fun, then there are many possibilities with some Filipinas as long as you're open and upfront. The second thing is to look at what you know about Filipinas, and if you think they're like any other woman you've ever been with before, then think again. Most certainly there's a vast difference, and one that requires plenty of research and learning prior to even looking for a Filipina to have any type of relationship with. One must know that many Filipinas are religious, and in fact, over 80% of the country's population are Catholics, with some of course being more religious than others. The highly religious Filipinas may believe in not having sex prior to marriage, and so they may be inclined to speed up the relationship so they don't have to abstain for many years. Those Filipinas may also follow the Catholic Church's directive around not using artificial contraception should they venture into having sex either prior to marriage or after marriage. This may be okay for you if you're happy to have plenty of children with your Filipina. Otherwise, if not, this is a great discussion to have around the use of contraception once you get to know the Filipina a little and you're thinking of the possibility of having a long-term relationship. Have you ever heard of or do you know about tampo, which is a culturally acceptable behaviour in a relationship between a Filipina and a Filipino man? Many foreign men will not tolerate tampo, and many will consider this behaviour to be manipulative and childish. But for those of you who are not aware what tampo is, then quickly, it's when a Filipina may become upset by something you've said or done, even if you're unaware of what has upset her. She won't communicate with you and she may give you the silent treatment for anywhere from a couple of hours to days on end. Now, of course, there are varying degrees of tampo, as not all Filipinas are the same. But know this, if your Filipina takes tampo to the extreme, you'll be in for a nightmare of a relationship. The third thing you'll need to be very aware of is that Filipinas are extremely family orientated. They're very close to their parents, siblings, uncles, aunts, cousins and nephews. A typical Filipino family can have many extended family members, and they all like to help one another. In fact, many Filipinas, whether they're single or have children of their own, may still live with their parents until they marry. This is far different to many in the West who like to get out on their own as soon as possible to become what they call more independent. Personally, I like the idea of families staying together and looking out for one another. And it's usually the Filipina's role to help look after the parents as they get older, and it's a role that a Filipina will gladly accept. So this leads me into the fourth important thing you really need to be aware of to know if you're ready to date a Filipina. And that is, you'll find many single Filipinas may go off and work, which often will be far away from their home in the province. They do this to earn an income so they can help their parents and their family. Many of these Filipinas will send a good portion of their hard-earned pesos home to their family each month, usually leaving themselves the bare minimum to live on. That right there will show how important many Filipinas will see their roles in looking after her parents in the Philippines. So what happens when a Filipina finally marries a man in a foreign country and she leaves the Philippines to start her life with this man in her new country? Now, naturally, she doesn't automatically lose her sense of responsibility or duty to help her parents financially. For her to just stop helping her parents while she's so far away would be absolutely devastating to her. So she'll want to send money home on a monthly basis because it's always what she's done and what she believes to be the right thing to do. And of course, she loves her parents. This is why many Filipinas who go to live overseas after marriage will get a job and work very hard, even if they don't like it, in order to be able to send money home to their parents. Simply put, this is who they are as Filipinas. And if this is a worry to you, then pursuing a Filipina may not be the ideal option. The fifth thing is, you'll also want to learn about Filipino food, and especially budget or street food. Many Filipinas will enjoy such delicacies as balut, which simply put is a duck embryo, chicken intestines, chicken feet, pig's ears, and dried fish, just to name a few. Now, all of those things I'm not a fan of, but my Filipina wife loves them, so I'd never stop her eating them, as long as I don't have to. The sixth thing to really consider is what type of Filipina you'll be looking for and where will you find her. Consider very carefully what traits, qualities and morals the Filipina should have. Should she be educated, speak good English, be attractive, how religious, and does she want kids or does she already have kids? Is she a strong, independent woman who can look after herself? Should she be over a certain age, possibly more mature than a 20-year-old, and the list goes on. There really is so much to consider when looking for a Filipina that will be well suited to you and vice versa. Once you have a clear idea of the type of woman that you're looking for, you need to make sure that you're aware of all the various love, dating or romance scams going on in the Philippines each and every day. One must know that the Philippines is a developing country with a good number of people in poverty, and as such, some will find love scams as a good way to make money. I have a playlist on Philippines love scams that you can check out at the end of this video, which will give you much information on how to spot a love scam and how to know the genuine Filipinas from the not so genuine ones. Once you have all this information, you're now ready to find an amazing Filipina to spend your life with. But how do we find her? Some people may look on free Facebook groups, and some may get lucky, but the amount of Filipina scammers there is tremendous, and as such, it will reduce your chances of finding a good Filipina and increase your chances of becoming a love scam victim. One of the most popular ways is to go to an online dating site. Now, you'll still need to be careful because these sites will all have scammers there, but some will have more than others. Many people have recommended to me over the years one particular dating site, and that's why I always point people towards the Philippines' #1 dating site, which of course is Christian Filipina. My link is in the pinned comment below. It's free to create an account, so be sure to check it out. Other people may like to do it the old-fashioned way of getting on a plane and going directly to the Philippines and finding a good Filipina themselves. It certainly becomes an exciting adventure, and I do see the value in doing so. But unfortunately, many people don't have the luxury of doing so, so they'll start their search via online dating. And of course, with no air travel at this time into the Philippines, online dating becomes the only option. But no, this can be a great opportunity to meet a good Filipina and to get to know more about her without physical intimacy getting in the way and clouding our judgment. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, then you'd have plenty to consider. It may sound like a lot of work, and in some senses it is, but it's also very interesting and rewarding learning about Filipinas, her culture, food and country. After more than 7 years of marriage, I highly recommend dating and marrying a Filipina. But again, you must do all in your power to learn as much as you can so you find a genuine Filipina who's right for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.